The true crime case that looked completely finished just exploded back into national headlines. Alex Murdaugh, the once powerful South Carolina lawyer, convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul, just had those murder convictions overturned by South Carolina Supreme Court. And the reason has shocked even longtime legal analysts. Allegations of jury tampering and misconduct connected to former court clerk Becky Hill. Now here's the question everyone is asking tonight. Does this mean Alex Murdaugh could actually walk free one day? Or is this simply the legal system correcting itself? Even in one of America's most infamous murder cases? Because this story isn't just about one man anymore. It's about whether the justice system can still be trusted when emotions, media attention, and courtroom fame collide. And trust me, the details behind this ruling are unbelievable. For anyone who hasn't followed the Murdaugh saga from beginning, Alex Murdaugh came from one of the most influential legal families in South Carolina. For generations, the Murdaugh family held enormous power in the Lowcountry region. Prosecutors said that power, greed, and desperation eventually led Alex to murder his wife Maggie and younger son Paul in June 2021 at the family's Moselle hunting estate. The 2023 trial became a national obsession. Millions watched every twist. The kennel video, the emotional testimony, the financial crimes, the lies to investigators, and Murdaugh taking the witness stand himself. Prosecutors painted him as a manipulative narcissist, trying to distract from mounting financial scandals. The jury agreed. He was convicted and sentenced to 2 life terms. Case closed, or at least that's what everyone thought. But behind the scenes, controversy around Becky Hill never really disappeared. Hill served as Culleton County Clerk of Court during the trial. At first, she became something of a local celebrity because of the massive attention surrounding the case. Then allegations started piling up. Murdaugh's defense team claimed Hill improperly influenced jurors during the trial, allegedly telling jurors not to be fooled by Murdaugh's testimony and encouraging them to watch his body language while he testified. And according to the South Carolina Supreme Court, those allegations were serious enough to destroy confidence in the verdict itself. In a unanimous ruling, the justices said Hill's conduct crossed a line and denied Murdaugh the right to a fair and impartial jury. The court wrote that Hill effectively placed her fingers on the scales of justice. That phrase is now everywhere online because it captures a core issue perfectly. Even if someone appears guilty, the legal process itself still has rules. Now, this is where the story gets even more dramatic. Becky Hill's problems didn't stop with accusations from jurors. She later resigned from office and pleaded guilty to multiple misconduct-related charges tied to her actions during and after the trial, including issues involving sealed exhibits and allegations connected to promoting a book she wrote about the case. That book angle especially fueled public outrage. Think about it from the perspective of ordinary Americans watching this unfold. A court official overseeing one of the biggest murder trials in years later writes a book about the case, while allegations emerge that she may have improperly influenced jurors. To many people, that instantly raises questions about motive, ethics, and whether fame blurred professional boundaries. An online reaction has been absolutely explosive. Some people believe this ruling proves the justice system still works because courts are willing to overturn convictions when constitutional rights are violated, even in high-profile cases involving deeply unpopular defendants. Others are furious, arguing that technical misconduct may now force the victims' families to relive the trauma of another murder trial. That divide is what makes this case so fascinating and emotionally charged. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. 2 things can be true at once. A defendant can appear overwhelmingly guilty and still deserve a fair trial. That principle is foundational to the American justice system. If courts start ignoring misconduct because a defendant is unpopular, then legal protections begin collapsing for everyone else too. And that's exactly why the South Carolina Supreme Court stepped in here. But before anyone thinks Murdaugh is about to walk out of prison tomorrow, that's not happening. Even though his murder convictions were overturned, Alex Murdaugh remains behind bars because of his separate financial crime convictions. He previously admitted to stealing millions from clients and faces lengthy state and federal prison sentences connected to fraud and financial crimes. So, legally speaking, this ruling gives him a new murder trial, not freedom. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson already announced the state plans to retry the case as quickly as possible. And honestly, that retrial could become even bigger than the original. Why? Because now the prosecution faces a completely different environment. Jurors already know the story. The defense now has momentum from a Supreme Court victory. Public trust in the original process has been shaken, and prosecutors will likely have to rebuild their strategy while avoiding many of the controversies that damaged the first trial. At the same time, prosecutors still have what many legal analysts consider powerful evidence, including cell phone data, testimony, and the infamous kennel video placing Murdaugh near the crime scene shortly before the murders. So despite today's ruling, this is far from an exoneration, and that's why this story may continue dominating true crime headlines for years. Because this case has transformed into something larger than one murder conviction. It's become a national debate about courtroom ethics, media influence, legal fairness, celebrity trials, and whether justice can survive inside a media circus. One final thing that's important to remember here. The victims remain at the center of this tragedy. Maggie and Paul Murdaugh are still dead. Their murders remain unsolved in the eyes of the law after the day's ruling. And regardless of what people think about Alex Murdaugh personally, another courtroom battle now seems almost inevitable. Do you think the court made the right decision?